Perfect. Now that everybody's here, we can go ahead and jump on and get started. Thank you again to all of our attendees for joining us this evening. Everybody who's streaming us live on Facebook, thank you there as well. And thank you to Jennifer, Jesse, and Jen, and then Taylor and Natalie for joining us this evening. Really looking forward to hearing your entire sets. I got a little taste last night, but really looking forward to getting everything this evening. So I just want to go ahead and jump in and talk about Project Lyme, which is the whole reason that we're here, right? Besides the great performances that you'll see in a little bit. So for those who may be new to Project Lyme, learning about us through some of these artists that you are such fans of, Project Lyme is an organization that focuses on education, awareness, advocacy, and research, all focused on eradicating the epidemic of tick-borne diseases. This specific event is focused on raising awareness for the ability of Lyme disease to persist and addressing the realities of its impact on all aspects of your life, including relationships and people who are involved in your life outside of just the disease. So you'll hear some stories of overcoming Lyme from several of the people in this, from several of the performers, as well as the experience of those who were involved with them through that journey. We're really looking to just continue to build up our community by showcasing that you can overcome the disease and still live a normal and well-rounded life. If you're interested more in the educational aspect of Lyme disease, keep in mind we do have several upcoming educational events partnering with other organizations within the Lyme world to showcase the variety of groups impacted, which include children, mothers, as well as whole families. So keep an eye out on social media for some information about those upcoming events. But I'll go ahead and jump in here and go to our first performer of the night, being Jennifer Hoffmann. So I'll give a little intro as to Jennifer's background, as well as drop her PayPal ID in the chat in case anybody's feeling generous tonight and would want to tip Jennifer for her performance and her giving her wonderful talents up for us this evening. So Jennifer is currently a member of the Project Lyme team. She is a program associate working on several aspects of Project Lyme's initiatives, as well as Generation Lyme, where she also serves as a board member. She has had Lyme and several co-infections for most of her life, but before her specific diagnosis in 2017, she was an opera singer, which is some of the type of music that you'll be hearing later on this evening. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jennifer now, who can tell us a little bit about her singing abilities and what she might be performing for us this evening.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to be here. Noah's correct. I was an opera singer, which feels like in a past life, but I'm really happy to be doing it again here. Yeah, I'm a mezzo-soprano, and you'll be hearing two pieces from me. This is my first public concert in 4 years, so I have some feelings about it. I'm like really happy to be here, happy you're all here. And I thought it was important that we do something like this because, I mean, I always think this community deserves fun and could use more fun. And also, it's a great opportunity to highlight more specific stories of how our condition has impacted our lives. My health as a singer was always a problem because I had Lyme disease the whole time, but for the majority of the time, I didn't know what I had. So that caused a lot of just more than awkwardness, a lot of difficulty because I felt really like I couldn't be reliable and I couldn't be believed. So I had to kind of hide it. So this kind of venture back into singing is very exciting for me. And yeah, I'm really happy to share it with you. So I'm going to sing two pieces for you. The first one is called Mon cœur s'ouvre à ta voix. It's French. I mentioned this last night in our dress rehearsal, but I'm also excited to be singing in French here. It's pretty normal for opera singers to sing in multiple languages and to speak multiple languages. But during the height of my illness, I forgot English. So I'm just very happy to be here and doing this. On to the first piece again.
Yeah, Jennifer, I have those translations. Do you want me to bring them up now?
Yeah, just if they can go in the chat or so the first piece is called My Heart Opens at Your Voice, and it's from the opera Samson and Delilah by Camille Saint-Saëns from 1877. Samson and Delilah is a pretty famous story that you may know. And just as a reminder, she is a seductress and he is a strong warrior. They are from opposing sides in a war. And in this moment, in this aria, she is attempting to close a trap that she's set for him, entreating that he surrenders himself to her and her love for him, and begs him to respond, hoping that he'll forget about the war he's fighting. And in the end, they confess their love to each other. She does win. She learns the secret of his strength, and they cut his hair. But I thought this was a great opener to this concert because it's super romantic. It is a love song, and it's a tune you may have heard. And I have to be honest, I kind of love singing it. So here we go. Oh, can you see me okay? Great. Mon cœur s'ouvre à ta voix, comme s'ouvrent les fleurs au baiser de l'aurore. Mais oh, mon bien-aimé, pour mieux sécher mes pleurs, à ta voix parle encore. Dis-moi, Catalina, tu deviens pour jamais. Redis à ma tendresse les serments d'autrefois, ces serments que j'ai réponds à ma tendresse. Verse-moi l'ivresse. Réponds à ma tendresse. Réponds à ma tendresse. Verse-moi l'ivresse. there was a screen share going on for a while. So I hope everybody got the best of both worlds. Um, so since this is a program about love and I'm here solo, we're here to talk about a different kind of love. Um, Mine is, I would like to share this love for music, obviously, and for singing music and getting to perform. And I think something that I experienced while I was before I was even too sick to stop doing anything the whole time, but then while I was the sickest, I was always worried that I would lose this and always worried about having to hide something about myself in order to try, which never really worked out the way I wanted it to because there's a lot of energy that one must spend in order to hide while performing, be vulnerable but not be vulnerable. And and there was a time not that long ago when, as I said, I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk, I I couldn't move properly. A lot of people in my life don't really know that, but that happened. While in studying for this career, I went to school for this, and I performed. I performed all over the world actually, and full shows, and had the time of my life. And in studying to do that, I learned so much music, so many different pieces, full operas, songs, different languages, and like French, German, Italian, and how to sing in other languages like Russian and Czech and more. And one of the most shockingly upsetting things that happened while I was really, really sick was I forgot all of it. And then eventually, at one point, even couldn't really match pitch. And that was probably my emotional low point because I'd always identified so much with with singing and with all of these things that had at one point been easy. I relied on that memory and then it was gone. And for a while I didn't know what I was missing, even though I missed it so much. And then as I had more clearer moments, I realized I've lost my sort of North Star, this thing that I have to wake up to. They wake up for and go to bed for every day. Um, this thing that made me happy. So I had to find other things and and find a way to be really happy with myself and to accept what was and even what had been, instead of just being worried about what might not be again in the future, which I found helped me through it. And even from the time when I couldn't dream of singing again to now, I have improved. I had a lot of treatment. I had support from friends and family, and took the time and stopped worrying about this and just let it be something that I loved again, just to listen to or to hum while I was bored. Or earlier this year when I had COVID, I think my singing, breathing probably helped me through. No, I know that it did. And so I think that the love for this helped me helped me stay on course and helped me get a little healthier once I kind of got rid of that attachment. And it came back around, and that's something I'm really happy to share because, as I know from my Gen Lyme friends, we don't always believe that things can improve, but it's really nice to know that they can. And so with that, I'd like to introduce my second piece because I chose it for this reason. It's called Le Spectre de la Rose, which means the ghost of the rose, and it's from a song cycle called Les Nuits d'été by Berlioz. It's also from the 1800s. And in this song, well, the theme of the entire song cycle is a progress of love from like youthful innocence to loss, and then finally a renewal, which feels like my story a little bit, and feels, and it's about the ghost of a rose. That's what the title means. That's plucked and worn by a woman at a ball, and that night appears at her bedside and whispers words to her of love and reassurance. And he tells her not to be afraid. And he's like a prince from a fairy tale, accepting his death because he's been cut and worn, accepting his death for just that one beautiful evening that he got to have. He says, "My destiny was worthy of envy, and for such a beautiful fate, many would have given their lives." And that reminds me of how I feel now about every good moment, about being grateful for all of these things. And so I'm very happy to share this with you as well. As you can tell, it's also in French.
That was awesome, Jennifer. Yeah,
Thank you.
I see the chat section going crazy as it should be. Bring in all that love, Jennifer. You know, what you said about Lyme patients deserving an evening like this is extremely true, and something I know Hey King and Jesse are just going to continue to build upon with their own performances and their own story sharing. So that was really amazing. Thank you so much. I will now go ahead and in order to keep the night moving, I'll go ahead and introduce Hey King. They are made up of Natalie London and Taylor Plecity, and tonight they will be performing an acoustic set, as well as Natalie sharing a little bit of her own story as a Lyme survivor. On April 2nd, they have a debut album coming out with Anti Records, produced by a 4-time Grammy winner, Ben Harper. And they just released 2 brand new singles and music videos for their upcoming album. I'm going to drop some of those links to the YouTube that they have here. And then I also see some requests for Jennifer songs in the chat. What I can do is put the names, sadly, because of the amount of conversation that's going on in there. I don't want to take up too much space with the full translations and everything, but I'll make sure to drop those names shortly. Or Jennifer can do it that's perfect. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Natalie and Taylor and let you guys share your story and share your great music with us.
Awesome. Thank you. Test, test. Can you guys hear us?
Very good. Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much for having us tonight. Wow, this is definitely a topic that's near and dear to our hearts. To give you like a little bit of background. First of all, Jennifer, that was absolutely freaking stunning.
Yes!
We freaked out last night. Our faces were like,
oh man,
like this the entire time that you were singing, and again tonight. To give a little bit of background, I too was playing music. I was out on the East Coast going to Columbia University. I was in my senior year, and I went down to Charlottesville, Virginia, and slept at a farmhouse, got bit by a tick, and I remember waking up and I had rashes all over me, and I ended up having a bullseye rash as well, and thought, like, this is weird, but was one of those people that had absolutely no education on Lyme whatsoever. For me, the only thing that I'd heard about Lyme disease prior to my experience with it was either it was something dogs could get, or it was a punchline at the end of Drop Dead Gorgeous, when they're like catching up with the characters and they're like, oh, this character died from Lyme disease, and it's like a joke. So I knew nothing, and I was someone that always got like rashes, or very, it's very obvious if I got bit by a mosquito or something, so I kept going. I was touring all over the place, and I was in my senior year, so I was just burning the candle at both ends. I got some flu symptoms and things like that, but by the time that I realized something was really wrong, I was in and out of the emergency room so many times I lost count, for seizures, for asthma, they would put me on inhalers and oxygen because I couldn't breathe. I pretty much couldn't move by the end of the year, and I would be mid-conversation leading up to that, and at school, going from being on the dean's list to my professors trying to talk to me and being like, do you even know, me asking, do you know where I am right now? Because I don't even know, what class I'm in or what building, or, I'm not even sure I know who you are. I completely lost everything I knew. And by the end of that year, I was so sick that I was hospitalized for months at a time at both UCSD in San Diego. I was flown back from New York to San Diego. And they had me in the infectious disease ward for multiple months from UCSD and then again at Thornton. Nobody could figure it out. My saving grace was that I had over 101 to 102 degree fevers every single day. And so they knew it wasn't something psychosomatic and that I was just this person who was incredibly confused and exhausted and in so much pain. And it was a very long, long trek, as I'm sure all of us have gone through, to actually get a diagnosis. And that was really just the beginning. It took 4 years at least. I was bedridden with like 3 IVs to my heart. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't read or write. I lost a lot of my memory. And I definitely never thought I would play music again. A lot of people ask us where the name Hey King comes from. I write on the guitar in case you know. This is also part of our joy.
Let's go lie down.
But when I was so sick, like movies and TV were definitely my comfort to get through the day. And I would watch Where the Wild Things Are all the time, the Spike Jonze version. And every time they yelled for Max, they didn't know his name, so they would just yell, "Hey, King!" But I think anybody that's been through this kind of thing where you're so trapped in your own body and you're just stuck and sick day in and day out, you're just longing for like adventure and for like an expression of like your rage and your passion and everything. And so that kind of stuck, and we formed the band from there. So this first song is called Lucky. It goes into a little bit of the details. Part of what I mentioned in here, it's the only song we really focus on the sickness and illness. Yeah. When I was getting my 3rd PICC line, I had 4 total, and one of the PICC lines, they used them to do IV medication every single day. So I was on about 3 IVs a day. And the 3rd PICC line they did, they severed my artery in the middle of surgery by accident. You never want to hear a surgeon, by the way, say "uh-oh" in the middle of it while you're awake on the table.
Oh, man.
So that was insane. And I almost bled out to death. And that was definitely, I mean, the entire experience of being that sick was a brush with death. I mean, none of us knew if we'd pull through. I definitely met a lot of people who had reached out and never made it. And I'm very, very lucky to be here. So we try to focus on that and got to the other side of everything. And so this song is called Lucky.
Lucky?
This is Lucky. Yeah, you
Lucky.
ready, babe?
I think so. Okay.
This is Taylor on the ratchet.
On the ratchet, yeah. I like having fun with my percussion. Should we wait for our dogs to lay down?
Oh, they're fine.
Okay. If you guys hear some ruckus happening, that's because Finnegan and Elliot just want to be a part of us. Okay.
Oh, we love you guys. When I was a child, I walked around with my hands stretched to my side. And in the front seat, I spread my fingers out when I learned to drive. Well, I was waiting for your hand. I was waiting for you. Well, I was waiting for your hand. I was waiting for you. When I was alone, I watched them slip as they sliced into my skin. That hospital, where the blood poured over my arms and the light shined in. Well, I was waiting for your hand. I was waiting for you. Yeah, I was waiting for your hand. I was waiting for you. tell me I'll survive, and say someday you will find me. Let me go back and tell me I'll survive, and say someday you will find me. Let me go back and tell 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 me. I was overjoyed at the hope that you'd walk in at a red light. All the days that I did not know if I'd make it through the night. How lucky am I to be alive, to love you? How lucky am I to be alive? All right. Thank you. That's lucky. I definitely feel lucky that we are here right now playing music.
Yes.
It was crazy.
Woo!
Like, I went from never thinking we would ever play again to meeting the love of my life.
Oh, thanks, babe.
She joined our band. We usually play, by the way, with like a 7-piece band. We play with trumpets and French horn and bass
ratchets.
and all time, and definitely the ratchet. We
I
never
love
miss
the ratchet.
But if you check out the record, you'll definitely get the full feel of what we do.
Yeah.
But we went from that to, like, while I was in physical therapy, I started writing music again. And we ended up
That's
meeting-
actually where the name Hey King comes from. I know we did a little social media
I
post
just
with
was telling
Natalie.
them while you were fixing the dog's water.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
But
awesome.
That's definitely the
Ignore
thing.
me then.
But yeah, so we went from that to started to play, met Ben Harper. He loved our stuff and ended up taking us on the road with him for 3 different
International.
North American and international
It was
tours
really
as
cool.
his opener, and then produced our album and
And now it's
coming
gonna come
April
out.
2nd.
We finally this is our first few months that we've ever had music out that we could be like, hey, if you want to check us out, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on the interwebs.
But one of the things that
happened this year, or
well, this song
Sing
Sing Me to Sleep. You know, like, while I didn't have anybody, I mean, I had my amazing mom and my brother around and stuff when I was ill, but I didn't have a love or comfort or day-to-day, like, kind of like that. But,
I was just taking my time to find you.
Right? I appreciate that. You got there just in time.
Just in
That's
time.
good. But I think one of the things that it teaches you, even if you are alone going through it, and it's one of the most lonely, horrendous things in the world, like, you will learn so well how to be there for other people and how to like get through those times of need and be a comfort. And one of the craziest things that happened this year, we've been together for 6 years now, and during the pandemic and everything that happened, we were like, okay, we're healthy, we're well. And all of a sudden, Taylor started getting fevers every day. She was in bed probably 80% of the week, I'd say. Like, couldn't work anymore, was in pain all the time. I was like, oh my God, this may be Lyme.
It was really scary. It was not Lyme. Last year, like late last year, I finally got a diagnosis, and it was lupus. And it's just something that, like, I didn't know we were going to go there.
Well,
I thought we were talking about your journey, but I definitely feel very grateful that I have a lover and a partner, like a full, like, my favorite human has gone through something like this, because that kind of came out of nowhere for me. Just, like, feeling like I was absolutely crazy. Like, I thought I was losing my mind, and that, like, I don't know, I thought I was, like, faking it at some point, that, like, maybe it was just depression and that it was the pandemic, or, like, I don't even know where my head went to like, classify what I was feeling because I didn't want to be sick, if that makes sense.
And that's one of the hardest things with like chronic illness too, is that you think that you're going insane. And so I think having this happen, as much as I wish it absolutely didn't have to happen to you.
Oh,
like,
I'm so grateful.
I at least know how to navigate all of those worlds, and so this is a love song about kind of being there for each other even when it's dark.
Oh,
So.
okay. So this is like our ballad, "Sing Me to Sleep."
I've been gone for 3 days. That's 3 nights too long. Slipping barely under sleep waves, waiting for my song. All I want is your voice pressed against my ear. Sing me to sleep, love. Sing me till I disappear. Close your eyes. We've got time. Where you go, I go. I'll be right beside. You've been gone for 3 days, and I'm still in my head. Full of constant conversations, and the words we left unsaid. All I want is your hand pressed against my heart. Love me when I can't see. Love me in the dark. Close your eyes. We've got time. Where you go, I go. I'll be right beside. All I want is your voice pressed against my heart. Love me when I can't see. you guys tonight. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for listening, and thank you for letting us be a part of such an incredible organization. Oh, they're saying lovely things.
Oh my goodness, you guys are so sweet. Okay, I'm done now. We have one more song for you, and it's kind of like it's my favorite relationship song, because even though it's kind of a love song, it's like a realistic one.
I think especially during this time where people have been stuck together for months. I mean, we actually have been doing really well, but like
decently well, yes.
We'll get on each other's nerves, and so we decided to write a love song
about arguing.
Yeah,
and it's called "Sorry," or "Sorry" because she's Canadian. Sorry.
Yeah, get it right. Come on, guys.
SOAR.
Yeah.
SA.
There's no A in sorry.
Sorry.
It's story.
SOO.
Yeah. Anyway, this one's Sorry.
This is Sorry. This is actually one of the newest songs that came out, and there's a music video to it too, just in time for Valentine's Day. So it's one of the first links that Noah sent in the group chats. This is
definitely check it out. It's really fun.
And thank you guys so much for being here and supporting such an amazing cause. Like, wow.
Yes. And feel free to reach out. I mean, we're always here to listen
and to help.
I know how hard this is, and there's definitely a light at the other end. Just hang in there, and what feels like a cave will probably turn out to be a tunnel.
Aww. Babe, did you just think of that?
I don't know.
That was amazing. That was pretty dope. Wait, do you want to say something about that thing that we have there?
This is also, I wrote a book about it all because I couldn't play music yet, so I wrote a memoir called Limelight.
When she understood English again.
And check it out at limelightmemoir.com. There's also an audiobook read by Natasha Lyon, mainly because we have the same hair when it's not wet. And
that's the only reason why
it's the whole story.
You had Natasha Lyon audio.
Yeah, pretty much. Also because I'd listened to her read the dictionary. I mean, she's got the best voice.
You're my favorite human.
You're my favorite human. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. This is called Sorry.
All right.
Did I get out of bed wrong? Didn't mean for the light to hit your face. You were tossing and turning all night, fighting with your demons. My body just got in the way. And all the while you apologize for things that I never said you've done. So right back at the beginning of a fight, no one's ever won. Well, stop saying sorry, please. Do I need to tattoo across my forearm? Jesus Christ, love, I'm on your team. Well, stop saying sorry, please. I wanna fall asleep in your arms instead of waking up on my knees, waking up on my knees. I'm waking up on my knees.
It only takes a second to hear something I didn't say. What are we fighting about anyway?
I didn't say it like that. That doesn't sound like something I would say. So what are we fighting about? What are we fighting about today? Stop saying sorry, please. Do I need to tattoo across my forearm? Jesus Christ, love, I'm on your team. Stop saying sorry, please. I wanna fall asleep in your arms instead of waking up on my knees, waking up on my knees. I'm waking up on my knees.
Give me a green light and give me a beat. Give me a chance to light a match so you can find your way back to me. Give me a life vest.
Give me
Give me the C. Give me a beat. Put your lips upon my lips and breathe some life back into me. Give me a green light. Give me a green light. Give me a beat. Give me a beat. Put your lips upon my lips and breathe some life back into me. And stop saying sorry, please. Do I need to tattoo across my forearm? Jesus Christ, love, I'm on your team. Well, stop saying sorry, please. I wanna fall asleep in your arms. I wanna fall asleep in your arms.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having us. Thanks, guys.
Happy
Thank you,
Valentine's.
Hey King. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I really think, Natalie, you sharing your story about how it took so long to get diagnosed and how it took so long to recover, but now where you're at now is so far past where you were. And just that story of recovery is really awesome for everybody out there. So now I want to go ahead and introduce our next group, individual, but we got both of them here for the moment. Happy birthday, Jen. Thanks for spending your birthday with us here and allowing Jesse to share his own music and his own story with our entire community. I think they'll very much benefit from it. So quick intro, Jesse is a singer-songwriter with a passion for Lyme disease patient advocacy. He has been in remission since 2016 and has spoken and performed about Lyme disease events across the United States and Europe, as well as running the New York City Marathon 3 times to support Lyme disease. His music has been streamed more than 40 million times, and he's been featured across places like The Today Show, MTV, CNN, and NPR.
I like this. This is fun.
Yeah. And while Jen may not be performing for us tonight, she is an artist in her own right. She is an actress and a voiceover artist and has appeared in shows like Girls on HBO, Master of None on Netflix, and Bull on CBS. Her voice has been used in commercial campaigns for companies around the world, and her commercials have been played more than 50,000 times. And she has run in the NYC Marathon 7 times. Jesse, you gotta step up your game to support cancer research. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jesse and Jen to hear a little bit about their own story before Jesse performs for us.
Thanks, Noah. Thank you, everybody. Hey, King and Jennifer.
Oh my gosh,
you guys are so good.
So good.
So I think what we're going to do here to wrap things up, a lot of people, I've met a lot of people on here, and I have a similar but different story where I was very sick for a long time, and it took a long time to get diagnosed. And most of the people watching this are very familiar with that story because you are experiencing it yourself. Or you have a loved one who has been experiencing it yourself. And I thought it might be valuable because to talk about your experience of it actually a little bit. I know that at this point it was a long time ago, which yay, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of people watching are freaked out about the idea of being in a relationship while they're sick, or, you know, am I going to find someone who understands, or all that stuff. And so I just think it would be beneficial to talk about that a little bit. And I wrote some questions down because I'm very official.
Oh boy.
So myself, like a lot of people watching, it took me 9 months to get a diagnosis. It took me a dozen doctors to get a diagnosis. I know what that was like for me. I never spent much time thinking about what that was like for you until way later. So what was it like for you? Because we met 2 months before I got sick. Well, we started dating 2 months before I got sick. So it wasn't like we'd been together forever.
Right.
So now you're dating this guy, this really cute guy.
Very cute.
For like a couple months. And then I started getting sick. And then I started not getting better. And then I started seeing all these doctors. What was that like for you during that time? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, I think that our experience is the same as most people. The first couple of months, it was a lot of like, what is this? Because we didn't know, we weren't connected with anybody in a community with Lyme disease. We didn't know any Lyme literate doctors. All the doctors we were going to were suggesting all these crazy things, autoimmune issues, which is very general, and then obviously pushing the depression, psychological issue conversation on you. And I think what was really challenging for me, and we've talked together a lot at different events, was that, and again, I was like 23 years old, and
you don't need to make apologies.
And I didn't really.
It turned out fine.
It turned out great, but you know, depression runs in your family.
Sure.
And so what I was dealing with was getting a lot of phone calls from your mom, kind of saying like, I know what this is. This is what it looks like. And then I was sort of stuck in the middle of trying to support you, but also hearing all this stuff from your mom and hearing all this stuff from doctors. And for someone who trusts doctors, because that's where I was coming from, is someone who trusts doctors, it was hard for me to let go that maybe the doctors were wrong. So that was really difficult because I was trying to suss out my own opinion on it and trying to be the best sport for you, but also, you know, I don't know.
And also, who's this crazy new guy that you'd started dating who was a mess?
Well, yeah, that too.
Was there a turning point? Do you remember a moment where you went from, because I remember we fought a lot about that.
Yeah.
Where I felt like it was like me against the world, where I was like, I'm dying, and everyone in my life, including my family and a lot of my friends, and you were like, are you, but you, I think you're probably just...
Yeah.
Was there like a moment, do you remember, where that was the turning point of that, where you like kind of got on board?
Yeah, I mean, and if you've heard us talk before, we've talked about this. I think we went to kind of the last psychiatrist of the line of people that we were...
hated that guy.
Encouraged to go to, and I drove you there. It was in Pennsylvania, so we drove 2 hours, and I sat in the parking lot for the hour appointment.
Which I completely have no memory of that happening.
And you came back into the car afterwards, and you just like lost it. You just started crying, and you turned to me and you were like, this isn't what this is. And I think for me, that was the turning point to be like, okay, then now we're on a search for what it is, because I got on board that that's not what it was.
No, I was way meaner about it. I was like, you have to believe me right now.
Sure.
There was definitely more of a, you have to believe me right, because I remember walking into that psychiatrist office.
Can I just say something actually, though, that I think might be really helpful? I think there's this conversation among the Lyme community about belief and about trust.
Oh, a big one.
Really big one.
Yeah.
And for someone who was on the opposite side of that conversation, when you say you don't believe me or you don't trust me, that's like as if you're lying, or as if you're a bad person and I'm not on your team.
Yeah.
And so I think what was so hard for me is that I was doing everything I knew to do to be on your team. And I'm like getting angry about it even in this moment, like to support you as best as I could. So to be told, you don't believe me, you don't trust me, which in my heart, I was doing everything that I possibly could.
The best that you could
know?
at
So
that
like,
time,
yeah. And I think that in hindsight, now seeing that we got this diagnosis and I didn't know what it was, I think it's it's a tricky road to go down, because if you're looking to get somebody on your side and you're looking to get somebody to hear you out or to see a different perspective, to go with the argument of you don't believe me is really difficult when I'm sitting in a parking lot and I just drove you 2 hours to this appointment. You know what I mean? Like it's like we don't even have the word for it. It's not believing you. That I didn't think you were lying. I was listening to doctors, you know? So I think that's a hard, like, I think that conversation, I don't know if anybody, someone just said it should be about facts, but we don't have facts, right? So that's what's really challenging is that.
So I was going like, these doctors are wrong, and you're coming from like, they're doctors. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, totally. And just like a little bit of my background that made this whole situation a little bit more interesting is I grew up with a really sick sister. My sister passed away from cancer, which is why I run marathons for cancer research. And so my whole childhood, I grew up with a really sick person. So like I knew what it looked like to watch someone be really, really, really sick and to be like throwing up all the time and to actually be dying, you know, and she died. So I think what was really hard for me is watching your symptoms and me trying to understand like the differences from what I experienced in my past to what your symptoms were, to what doctors were saying, to what your mom was saying. Like there was just a lot of information being thrown. And I think that really is for the people I've spoken to that are the supporters or the caregivers or the parents, like that's kind of the common thread, is that like we're not on your side. We're just not in your shoes. Yeah. We're in other shoes that are also really hard to be in. You know?
And I don't think I even remember saying to you while I was sick, I remember saying things like, I don't have the energy to care about you right now.
Yeah.
Not great.
Not great. Yeah, but I mean, understandably.
I didn't even consider what it was like for you to be dealing with me until years later.
Yeah, not to mention just me personally, I had already had like 9 years of illness. Like I didn't want to deal with it.
And then you got more illness.
I didn't want to.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This was a question that was asked to you in a previous event that we did.
Yeah.
How did you deal with, because a relationship is two people in a relationship giving and taking things from each other.
Sure.
For 2 months, we were getting to know each other, and then things started to get weird. And then for like 2 years after that, it wasn't a give and take. Right. It was very much like a give, take.
Yeah.
And me taking a lot of my emotional stuff out on you. And how did you deal with that, with not getting what you needed from a relationship during that time?
Well, I think this again goes back to, unfortunately, I was sort of comfortable in that caregiver role. And so I don't know if everybody would have responded that way. Obviously, I loved you so much and still do. Yeah, but I think, and this was something that I actually learned through this process for me personally, is that I was really desperate to be the person that took care of you. And
like to be the one that fixed it.
Right, because I wanted to be able to fix it, because of course you're hurting, I want you better. But there was so much of what you needed I could never give you, because I wasn't, again, I'm not in your shoes. But I am on your side. Mm-hmm. And so reversely, there were things I had to be able to get that I had to let go of getting them from you. Yeah. So like there was a period of time when I was like, I had to kind of get that there were certain, like getting attention, getting taken care of. I wasn't going to get that from you. Right. So that's a really important one that I think it's important for the people in those roles to make sure that you're also taking care of you and going out in search of that stuff, whether it be from friends or family or different types of support groups. You know, like you can't expect someone in your shoes to be able to
give you everything that you need.
Yeah, I think that's a good lesson in general always. You can't get everything from one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Which is also why, by the way, and we had a lot of arguments about like where you wanted to be my support, and I was like, no, I need to be with these people because these people get it.
Right.
Which is now why we started Generation Lyme, #Generation Lyme. What's up?
Yeah.
Was because we wanted to give people an opportunity to find their support system, because even the people that you love who are the closest to you, if they don't understand what you're going through, it can just be so challenging, and having someone who understands, it just provides so much relief.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would want to say to people who are watching who are in a caregiver role, or people who are watching who have caregivers that they're having a hard time with, or anything like that?
I think, and this is something, I got a lot of advice from your mom during this time, but this is something your mom said to me. No, it's good. Your mom's the best. I think that, I think actually, and I'm sorry, my wheels are turning because I'm feeling it right now, and like having this new thought right now, is that this conversation about belief is really where all of our fights stemmed from. And I think that that's probably a really shared experience. And trust is something you give. It's not something you earn, which is the thing your mom likes to say a lot. And so I think that if you are planning to be in a team with someone who's sick and someone who's not, you both have to just sort of honor that you're trusting each other and like give that to each other. And so instead of waiting for the doctors to prove something, or the symptoms to show up a certain way, or the results to show up a certain way, if you're just if you give that trust, and then vice versa, you trust that I'm trusting you, you know, that you trust that I'm on your team, then instead of waiting for something to prove itself, you're just in it together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely remember my family saying, like, you're working so hard to make us believe you. If there was something actually wrong, you wouldn't have to work so hard or something. And it was definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
Last question,
Yeah.
because we've talked about this
It just
before.
got so cold. I've been like shaking.
Yeah, it's cold in here.
No.
The last question is, why did you stay? Because I tried to break up with you 100 times.
Oh, so many times.
So many times because I wasn't.
Which makes me sound so creepy.
No, no, I'm not leaving. No, but I tried to break up with you a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that I wasn't giving you what you needed. I was really freaked out that that was going to be the rest of my life, and I didn't want to subject you to that. Why did you stay?
Well, and this is a question I get every time I'm interviewed about this stuff, is that if you were diagnosed with cancer, nobody would ask me that question. So I think that it's a...
Yeah. So part of it is the conversation around Lyme versus an illness like
Which is
cancer.
part of, and I'm going to just throw this at Project Lyme and Generation Lyme for a second, because so much...
Okay.
I'm just going to say this, because so much of Lyme disease, or just disease in this world right now has to do with marketing, which is so awful. But like from a marketing perspective, it's just a hard question. It's like, Lyme is a legitimate illness. Stop it. Like, I'm not going to leave someone who I love who's sick. Stop.
But it's not legitimate to the post-treatment Lyme to a
Yeah, but
to
like,
a lot
let's
of people
stop
is
the
not.
question. You know what I mean?
Like, stop asking.
I mean, I get it. I get the question, and I think I'm sure good to hear. But like, it would be like an impossible question to ask if you had cancer.
Right.
If we were at a cancer function,
it would be like evil for
it would
someone
be
to
like,
even suggest
you can't
it.
even. Yeah,
Right.
of course.
But for us, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
That question comes up all the time because we also there's also a part of us, or at least for me, and I know it's come up in some of these Generation Lyme calls of am I crazy? Like, there's still a part of me that thinks I'm crazy and made it all up. There's like a tiny part of me that thinks that sometimes.
Yeah, you should stop that.
Yeah.
But also, it's obviously easier said than done. There's a whole psychological side to it too, you know? And I say this at every single thing that I talk at, so I'm going to say it here as well, that I think especially your situation was you were trying so hard for so long to prove to everybody that you were not psychologically having issues, that it was completely an illness.
Well, the way that I described it was treating what was going on with me for depression was like doing the dishes while the house was on fire.
Totally. And
which I think was a great metaphor, and I'm very impressed that I came up with it while I was sick.
And it's great. I'm not surprised because you're a wordsmith. But I just want to say that I think for so long you fought so hard to prove to all of us that there was nothing psychological. That then once psychological ramifications happened, which it of course will with a long-term illness, you were afraid to admit that was something too that
and
was
now
affecting
it's
you.
5 years later, and
You're finally in therapy, which is great. Which is so great. I'm just saying that, like, if you have an illness, a chronic illness, it's going to affect you emotionally and mentally, and
totally.
That it's probably, I get the fight, but also like wouldn't have been so helpful. Instead of trying to be right about something, just caring about getting your well-being
Sorry.
up.
I feel like I just end up apologizing a lot with these things.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too. I wish we knew more about Lyme, so that
Soon,
period
hopefully.
of time. Yeah. Anyway.
Is there anything you want to say to the lovely people watching before we wrap up?
It was so great to be here, and same goes for me as well. If anybody has any questions or wants to reach out and connect from the other side of things, I'm always available too.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah. Let's hear some music.
All right, I'm going to play. I'm just going to do 2 songs for you. I know this is supposed to be a Valentine's Day concert, so I'm going to close with a love song, but I'm going to start with this one. This is a song called Monster, and I wrote this. It took me a couple years after my illness to process what happened to me, and this is what happened. Something's wrong here, doctor, and I don't know what it is, but there's a monster in my body. and it's living in my limbs, and it's tearing through my system like a hurricane wind that won't stop. And I'll do anything it takes. I'll spare no expense. I will swallow any medicine. If you think will work best, just don't tell me that I'm faking. Don't tell me that it's all in my head. I was a young and healthy man. I was a young and healthy man. I was a young and healthy man. Something's wrong here, doctor, and I don't know what to do, 'cause there's a monster in my body. Now I can barely move, and I'm staring at the ceiling. I haven't left this room in so long. And I'll do anything it takes. I'll light myself on fire. I'll follow any option. If it takes away the tired, just don't tell me that I'm faking. Don't tell me that I am a liar. I was a young and healthy man. I was a young and healthy man. I was a young and healthy man. And ooh, doesn't it kill you? Why doesn't it kill you to see me this way? And ooh, why doesn't it kill you? Why doesn't it kill you to see me this way? I was a young and healthy man. I was a young and healthy man. I was a young and healthy man. Thanks. Can you put that over there? Thank you. I don't play that one very often because most people don't get it, so it was nice to do that. So I'm going to do one more. My name is Jesse Ruben. Thank you for Jennifer and Hey King for playing. Thank you, Noah, for putting this together. Thank you guys for watching. I just saw someone say that in the chat, they are dealing with their Lyme disease alone. Some of the people watching and I am also, we're on the board of something called Generation Lyme, which is a Project Lyme project. And what we do is mostly we host meetups for awesome young people who are facing Lyme disease. If you are watching this and you haven't, our website is in the chat. Check us out. We host 4 meetups a week. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday is a women's meetup. They have been hosting them, and being a part of them has been one of the best experiences of my life. And if you need a place to go, that's what we're here for. This last song is called This Is Why I Need You. This is my big hit. This is, And it's a song that I wrote for all of the people that helped me get through my illness as a way to thank them. Because it takes, as a lot of you know, it takes a whole lot of people to get one person through an illness like that. And it's called This Is Why I Need You. Once my guitar is in tune. have so many questions and places to go. There are too many options, far too many unknowns. This is why I need you. And everyone talks now, but no one is right. There are too many armies with no one to fight. This is why I need you. 'Cause you make the darkness less dark. You make the edges less sharp. You make the winter feel warmer. And you make my weakness less weak. You make the bottom less deep. You make the waiting feel shorter. You make my crazy feel normal every time. You are the who, love is the what, this is the why. There are too many problems and no one who cares. There are so many roads and they all need repairs. This is why I need you. And there's not enough chocolate, there's too many chores. There are so many mountains that I haven't explored. This is why I need you. 'Cause you make the darkness less dark. You make the edges less sharp. You make the winter feel warmer. And you make my weakness less weak. You make the bottom less deep. You make the waiting feel shorter. You make my crazy feel normal every time. You are the who, love is the what, this is the why. And you keep the ship moving forward. You make it easy to try. And you make my crazy feel normal every time. You are the who, love is the what, this is the why. You are the who, love is the what, this is the why. You are the who, love is the what, and this is the why. Thank you. Happy birthday, babe.
Thank you.
That was awesome, Jesse. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
And thank you so much to all of our attendees out there for sticking with us. I know we ran a little bit longer than we maybe had anticipated, but the whole point is to give space to those who have a story to share and continue to share that with the rest of the Project Lyme community. So thank you again to Jesse, Hey King, and Jennifer, as well as Jen. Happy birthday again. Everybody for such a great night. I think it was very inspiring, I know, to myself, and I'm hoping it impacted the rest of the Lyme community as much as I know I personally was this evening. So thank you again, everybody. If you want to rewatch this, it'll be on our Facebook page. It is currently streaming live. Keep an eye out, projectlyme.org, coming out with a new website sometime middle of next month. Several educational initiatives, more webinars, keeping people updated as to how do you stay healthy, how do you learn about Lyme disease, and hoping to expand that outside of the people who already know it, getting it to the largest community possible. So thank you so much, and everybody have a great rest of your evening, and happy Valentine's Day.